I introduced the elevation work on the Meitetsu Bisai Line, a local branch of Meitetsu with routes centered around Nagoya. First, I provide an overview of the line and the elevation project. The Meitetsu Bisai Line is a line connecting Yatomi Station to Tomonoi Station. It can be divided into 3 main sections, and among these, the section from Tsushima to Yatomi has a strong connection with the Meitetsu Tsushima Line, with many through trains to Nagoya. In the remaining sections, operations are split at Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station. The elevation section I introduced this time is here. It is the section before and after Kariyasuka Station, 2 stations away from Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station. The target of elevation is 1.1 kilometers, 0.7 miles long, and 3 railroad crossings will be abolished, which is small scale for elevation work by a major private railway. This is because the primary objective is concentrated on this road. This road is a trunk road about 13 kilometers, 8.1 miles long in the western part of Aichi Prefecture. Due to the increase in traffic volume in recent years, congestion caused by railroad crossings has become serious. To resolve this situation, an elevation project is progressing near Kariyasuka Station. While 3 railroad crossings will be abolished, 3 new roads crossing the tracks will be added after elevation. Convenience will improve because the tracks can be crossed at a total of 6 locations. On the other hand, the railway elevation project section is about 1.8 kilometers, 1.1 miles long. The neighboring Kannonji Station is also included. Although Kariyasuka Station is the only one to be elevated in the series of works, and Kannonji Station remains on the ground, there is a reason why Kannonji Station is included in the project section.
I examined the details of this elevation work while observing the local conditions. I board an inbound train for Ichinomiya from the Morikami and Tsushima direction and head for Kariyasuka Station. The train has just left the neighboring Futago Station. The structure above was the Meishin Expressway. This section is a single track, but some points crossing roads are noticeably built with a width for double tracks. Before long, I arrive at Kariyasuka Station. The distance between stations is 1.2 kilometers, or 0.75 miles. Since the section between stations is straight, I can see the train stopped at the neighboring station if I look closely. The railroad crossing visible ahead is the first of the 3 crossings to be abolished by elevation. The remaining 2 are between Kariyasuka Station and Kannonji Station. Before the station, there is a spring switch often seen on Meitetsu local lines. This is a point where the rail is fixed in one direction by the force of a spring. There is the same thing on the other side of the station, and inbound and outbound trains enter the station by keeping to the left. Conversely, a departing train proceeds by pushing the rails apart with its wheels. Structurally, speed limits become strict, so in Japan today, these are almost only seen on local lines. At this station, trains can exchange. Due to the arrangement of stations where exchanges can occur, the timing of inbound and outbound trains is staggered. It seems common for the inbound train for Ichinomiya to arrive first and stop for about 3 minutes to wait for the outbound train for the Morikami and Tsushima direction. As seen in the cab view, it is a station with a common structure of 2 platforms and 2 tracks. On the Ichinomiya side, the spacing between the poles supporting the overhead wires is wide, making it look as though there was another track, but there are no traces, so the details are unknown. The average daily number of passengers at Kariyasuka Station is 916. This ranks 15th on the Bisai Line and is fewer than at the neighboring Futago Station and Kannonji Station. Compared to the neighboring stations, the density of surrounding buildings is lower, and fields are particularly noticeable south of the station after walking a short distance. The reason this station is being elevated is that it is only a little over 200 meters, 656.17 feet, away from the railroad crossing of the Gifu Inazawa Line, which is the primary objective of the elevation, and the gradient would become too steep if the station were not also elevated. There is only 1 ticket gate and 1 ticket machine, providing facilities appropriate for the scale of the station. This railroad crossing is outside the ticket gates, so it is different from an internal crossing. Since the neighboring railroad crossings are quite far away, people who do not use the station also pass through here. Above that railroad crossing is the Tokai Hokuriku Expressway. It is connected to the Meishin Expressway, which appeared at the beginning of the cab view, at the Ichinomiya Junction on the right of the screen. Perhaps because the elevation of the Bisai Line was kept in mind since construction, that area is higher than the surrounding viaducts, leaving enough space to pass the Bisai Line viaduct between it and the ground. It is the only station to be elevated in the project section, but construction has not yet begun. Construction is proceeding at the neighboring Kannonji Station. Before going to Kannonji Station, I examine the railroad crossing on the Gifu Inazawa Line. The Tokai-Hokuriku Expressway passing above has 2 lanes on each side, with some lanes related to interchanges and junctions. The viaduct is about 30 meters, 100 feet, wide, and also has height, so the sense of intimidation is overwhelming.
On the other hand, this railroad crossing has only 1 lane in each direction. This road has 2 lanes on each side north of the intersection, immediately to the north, and the lanes are on both sides of the viaduct pillars. South of the intersection, it is reduced to 1 lane in each direction, and the lanes are shifted only to the west side of the viaduct pillars. And from the intersection, about 200 meters, 660 feet, south across the railroad crossing, it returns to 2 lanes. Since the number of lanes is reduced only before and after this railroad crossing, congestion across the intersection is likely to occur. There are also side roads on both sides that appear to be local roads, but they are intermittent and feel lonely. Widening the Gifu Inazawa Line to 2 lanes on each side is scheduled to begin after the elevation of the Bisai Line is completed. It seems that making it 2 lanes on each side before and after the railroad crossing would alleviate congestion across the intersection, but there appear to be various circumstances. And there is a reason why the impact of this railroad crossing is even greater. When the inbound train for Ichinomiya arrives at Kariyasuka Station, this railroad crossing, located a little over 200 meters, 660 feet, away from the station, closes temporarily. This seems to be intended for cases where a train fails to stop at Kariyasuka Station, and it opens in about several dozen seconds. And before the outbound train for the Murakami and Tsushima direction arrives, the railroad crossing closes again. It takes about 1 minute and 30 seconds from when the alarm sounds until the train passes. Furthermore, immediately after the outbound train for the Murakami and Tsushima direction arrives at Kariyasuka Station, the inbound train for Ichinomiya meeting at Kariyasuka Station departs. Until that train passes the railroad crossing, it remains closed for 3 minutes.
It feels like it remains closed for too long, and although I do not think it is the same for all trains, the downtime is quite long for a line with 8 trains per hour during the day, including both inbound and outbound traffic at 15-minute intervals. I calculate that it is closed for nearly 15 minutes per hour during the day, including 3 minutes multiplied by 4, which is 12 minutes, plus the time when the crossing is temporarily closed. Based on this background, this crossing is designated as a bottleneck railroad crossing for motor vehicles. This refers to a railroad crossing where the product of the automobile traffic volume and the crossing closure time is 50,000 vehicle hours or more per day. I head to the next station, Kannonji Station. There are no safety sightings before or after Kariyasuka Station. Safety sightings are provided at stations where trains can exchange to prevent collisions with oncoming trains if a train fails to stop, but Kariyasuka Station does not have them. To prevent collisions between trains, the oncoming train is stopped at a red light before the station and cannot enter until the train that arrived first stops at the station. Since the signal before the station is on the Ichinomiya side of the railroad crossing, the crossing remains closed in such cases. I pass the railroad crossing of the Gifu Inazawa Line, and on the left I see the signal that the outbound train for the Murakami and Tsushima direction passes before the station. There is another railroad crossing to be abolished a short distance past this signal. Motor vehicles cannot pass through this railroad crossing. The viaduct plan for the future will lower its height around here and descend to the ground before the next railroad crossing.
Kannonji Station is located past the left curve. Only the platform on the left is currently in use. The old platform and old station building on the right were used until October 25th last year. The new platform is wider and cleaner, but there is a hidden reason for this. Although there is a railroad crossing with significant congestion immediately past the station, it is not a target for abolition. This is a cut viewed from the Kariyasuka side of the platform, slightly pulled back.
To prevent passengers from opening doors on the old platform by mistake, red X marks and red exclamation mark signs are placed on the platform. In addition to the conspicuous black and yellow signs, the yellow tactile paving has been removed or painted black. The new platform is higher than the old one, reducing the step to the vehicle and making boarding and alighting easier. And this new platform has two characteristics. The position of the roof does not match the vehicle, and there is a gap. It is fine now because it is sunny, but I would get wet when boarding or alighting if it were raining. Furthermore, I can see that the directions of the roof and the platform are slightly misaligned on this platform. The new platform is divided into an asphalt finished part far from the track and a concrete finished part close to the track. Because the concrete finished part is slanted, the shadow of the roof in the foreground does not align with the direction of the yellow tactile paving. The width of the concrete finished part varies significantly between both ends of the platform, with the inbound Ichinomiya side being about 1.7 meters and the Kariyasuka side in the foreground being about 2.9 meters.
This is a preparation for relocating the train exchange facilities currently at Kariyasuka Station to Kannonji Station. If the station were elevated while maintaining the exchange facilities at Kariyasuka Station, a viaduct for 2 platforms and 2 tracks, or 1 platform and 2 tracks would be necessary, just as it is now. If the exchange facilities are relocated to Kannonji Station, Kariyasuka Station only needs a viaduct for 1 platform and 1 track, which reduces project costs. While the grade separation of railways leads to the resolution of traffic congestion and the revitalization of towns divided by tracks, the benefits it provides to the railway company and users are not that great. Therefore, project costs are basically covered by the government, and the costs are subject to strict scrutiny. On the Bisai Line, one-man operation is conducted between Tomonoi and Tsushima, except for some trains during rush hours. 2-car formations are standard during the day, and rationalization is progressing even among Meitetsu local lines. Originally, the section between Yatomi and Tsushima, which first opened on the Bisai Line, was opened in 1898. It is the section that opened as the line of the Bisai Railway, founded by the people of Tsushima, who failed to attract the current JR Kansai line, and it actually has the oldest history among the current Meitetsu lines. The line was subsequently extended, and by 1914, the entire line was opened, including sections that would later be abandoned. While there are through trains to the Nagoya Main Line via the Meitetsu Tsushima line between Yatomi and Tsushima, there are no through trains to other sections of the Bisai Line. In the remaining sections, as I mentioned at the beginning, operations are divided at Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station, and transfers are required even though they are on the same line. This is because Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station has only 1 track for the Bisai Line.
From Kariyasuka Station, 2 stations away, to Tomonoi Station, 4 stations away in the opposite direction, the line is single track and takes nearly 30 minutes for a round trip, so the operating interval must be nearly 30 minutes. Therefore, Platform 1 for the Bisai Line is divided into front and back sections, separating trains for Tomonoi and outbound trains for the Morikami and Tsushima direction. Since a round trip between Meitetsu Ichinomiya and Kariyasuka takes 10 minutes, trains can run at 15-minute intervals. On the other hand, since a round trip between Meitetsu Ichinomiya and Tomonoi takes 16 minutes, and Meitetsu's schedule is set in 15-minute increments, trains run at 30-minute intervals during the day. This is quite few even for a Meitetsu local line, but it has settled on such facilities due to equipment constraints and demand considerations when Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station was elevated. Among the sections between Meitetsu Ichinomiya Station and Tsushima Station, the section between Morikami Station and Tsushima Station was converted to double tracks in the 1970s. At that time, limited express trains bound for Nagoya departing from Morikami Station were also established. However, the subsequent decrease in transport demand was severe, and service was reduced to roughly 30-minute intervals during the day in the October 2021 timetable revision. It has become one of the sections with the fewest trains on the Bisai Line, and the double tracks are completely underutilized. The situation in other sections is not much different, and rationalization and cost reduction, such as one-man operation, are being pursued. In such a situation, the means to save on elevation project costs was the relocation of exchange facilities. Fortunately, in the current schedule, the inbound train for Ichinomiya is made to wait at the neighboring Kariyasuka Station for the oncoming outbound train for the Morikami and Tsushima direction.
Even if the exchange facilities move to Kannonji Station, the impact on train exchanges is small. After touching on the background circumstances, I explained the relationship between the relocation of exchange facilities and the slanted track. Originally, Kannonji Station had a structure with one platform and one track, and the platform was on the south side of the track. On the north side of the track, there was a track for parking maintenance vehicles, and further north was a material storage area. First, the old platform and old station building on the south side of the track were relocated to the new platform and new station building newly constructed on the north side. To relocate the exchange facilities, it is necessary to arrange two tracks side by side, so the acquisition of land before and after the station proceeds. Once those are in sight, the track was relocated. The new platform has a structure where the concrete finished part supported by pillars protrudes from the asphalt finished part supported by the foundation. The pillars supporting the concrete finished part are a bit thin, and it does not look like they are intended for long-term use. While such foundation-based platforms are seen elsewhere on Meitetsu, it is normal for the edge of the platform to be in the same position as the edge of the foundation. Combined with the existence of the roof whose position and direction do not match, this indicates that the track position will change in the future. The demolition of the old platform and old station building also proceeds to secure the land on the south side of the station. After that, the flow is to add tracks and a platform on the south side. It is difficult to say at this stage how the tracks for the Murakami and Tsushima direction and the Ichinomiya direction will connect to the two tracks within the station grounds.
The end of the approximately 1.8 kilometers, 1.1 miles, project section for the elevation work is the starting point of the viaduct located on the Ichinomiya side after leaving Kannonji Station. The connection part is an embankment rather than a viaduct, and because there were gaps under the soundproof walls on the left and right of the track, there was a flaw that noise leaked easily. Currently, the renovation of the connection part is progressing. On the right, the land secured for work continues along the track. On the left, a reconstructed viaduct has appeared, and there is a possibility that the structure, including the track position, will be reviewed. At Kannonji Station, the station environment has also improved due to the move to the new platform. There are no irregularities like those on the old platform, and there is a vending machine next to the benches. Perhaps because inbound and outbound trains arrive and depart from the same platform, there are two ticket gates. This is more than at Kariyasuka Station. Prior to the switch to the new platform, a station plaza was built at the north exit. The station plaza and the north bicycle parking lot opened shortly before the switch, greatly improving convenience. Bicycle parking lots are also on the opposite side across the station building front, allowing many bicycles for commuting to work and school to be parked. Here is the state of the old station building on the opposite side across the railroad crossing. Although the entrance is of course blocked off, the demolition work is still to come. This may be because it is easier to start demolition after being a little further away than starting while the track is immediately next to it.
A slope for access cuts into the old platform, showing that the platform width is narrow. On the other hand, the new platform itself is wide, and since access stairs and slopes do not cut into the platform, there is overall plenty of space. The slope of the old platform is steeper than that of the new platform, making movement in a wheelchair seem difficult. The original bicycle parking lot was located on the Kariyasuka side of the station. Officially, the narrow part of the platform was the bicycle parking lot, but in reality, many bicycles were lined up, protruding into the road next to it. The width of the road is about 7.5 meters, 25 feet, and while it did not seem to be to the extent of obstructing cars passing each other, it was not a desirable state. Although there was also the disadvantage of being far from the station entrance, depending on where the bicycle was parked, the problem was solved by the relocation. This is what is located on the Kariyasuka side of the platform. This is the place that was used to enter and exit the platform before the old station building was built. It completed its role with the construction of the old station building and is likely to disappear along with the platform during the elevation project. Currently, the maintenance of side roads is progressing in the elevation section. This is because land is needed to temporarily move the existing track to a temporary track during the construction period. It is a process of widening the original road to the north away from the tracks, clearing land on the south side near the tracks, and laying temporary tracks there. The project cost was about 13 billion yen, $87 million, as of 2021. The project started in the 2012, and the initial goal was completion in the 2020.
In reality, construction was delayed due to difficulties in land negotiations, and only the renovation of Kannonji Station has progressed to some extent. The completion of the development is scheduled for the 2030.